The Porsche 911 is not just a car. It is an idea that survived decades of change, trends, and technology shifts, and the 1990 Porsche 911 stands at one of the most important moments in that story. By 1990, the 911 had already earned a legendary reputation, yet it was still evolving carefully, staying true to its original character while slowly adapting to a modern world. When you look at a 1990 Porsche 911, the first thing that stands out is how instantly recognizable it is. Even someone who knows nothing about cars can identify it. The round headlights, the gently sloping hood, the wide rear stance, and the smooth roofline flowing into the back all form a shape that feels timeless. Porsche did not chase fashion, they refined a formula. The body design in 1990 was clean and purposeful. Every curve served a function, even if people didn't realize it at the time. The aerodynamic shape reduced drag and improved stability at speed, especially important because the engine was mounted at the rear. Unlike most cars that placed the engine in the front, Porsche kept the flat-six engine behind the rear axle, a decision that defined the 911's driving personality. This rear engine layout gave the 1990 911 both advantages and challenges. On one hand, it provided incredible traction, especially when accelerating out of corners. On the other, it required skill and respect. The weight distribution meant the car demanded attention, but for drivers willing to learn, it rewarded them with unmatched connection and feedback. Under the rear deck lid sat the heart of the 1990 Porsche 911, an air-cooled flat-six engine. Air-cooled engines were a Porsche trademark, and by 1990, they had refined this technology to a high level. There was no radiator, no liquid coolant. Instead, air flowed over the engine to manage heat, creating a distinct mechanical sound that enthusiasts still worship today. The engine produced power that may seem modest by modern standards, but numbers were never the main story. What mattered was how the power was delivered. Throttle response was immediate, the engine revved freely, and the sound rose with a raw mechanical honesty that modern cars often filter out. Every press of the accelerator felt direct, physical, and alive. Transmission options typically included a manual gearbox that demanded involvement. Shifts were deliberate, mechanical, and satisfying. This was not a car that drove itself. It required coordination between hands, feet, and mind. For many drivers, this challenge was exactly what made the experience special. The steering of the 1990 911 was another defining element. There were no complex electronic filters or artificial weight adjustments. Steering feedback came straight from the front wheels, telling the driver exactly what the tires were doing. Road texture, grip levels, and weight transfer could all be felt through the wheel. Suspension tuning balanced performance with everyday usability. The car was firm, but not punishing. On smooth roads, it felt planted and precise. On rougher surfaces, it reminded you that this was a sports car built for driving, not isolating the driver from reality. Braking performance was strong for its time, with confidence-inspiring stopping power. Again, the feel mattered as much as performance. The brake pedal communicated clearly, allowing drivers to modulate braking with precision. Step inside the cabin, and the 1990 911 feels focused and purposeful. The interior was not about luxury excess, it was about function. The gauges were placed directly in front of the driver, with the tachometer sitting proudly in the center. This subtle detail told you what Porsche valued most: engine speed, driver control, and performance. Materials were solid and built to last. Buttons and switches felt mechanical, not digital. Seats were supportive, designed to hold the driver in place during spirited driving, while remaining comfortable for long journeys. Visibility was excellent, with thin pillars and a clear view of the road ahead, something increasingly rare in modern cars. Comfort features existed, but they never overwhelmed the driving experience. Air conditioning, audio systems, and basic conveniences were present, but they didn't distract. The car always reminded you that driving came first. In real-world use, the 1990 911 was surprisingly versatile. It could be driven daily by those willing to accept its character. It handled highways with ease, city streets with patience, and winding roads with enthusiasm. It was not the fastest car in a straight line, but on a twisting road, it felt alive in a way few cars could match. One of the most unique selling points of the 1990 911 was its honesty. It didn't hide its nature. It didn't pretend to be something else. The engine noise, the steering feel, the chassis response, all of it was real. This transparency built trust between car and driver. Another key strength was build quality. Porsche engineered the 911 to endure. Many examples from 1990 are still on the road today, not because they were babied, but because they were built with care. This longevity helped cement the 911's reputation as a sports car you could actually live with. The 1990 911 also marked a transitional era. Safety regulations, emissions rules, and customer expectations were changing. Porsche responded carefully, improving refinement without erasing character. This balance made the 1990 model particularly appealing to enthusiasts who wanted tradition with subtle modernization. From a driving philosophy perspective, the car taught drivers patience and respect. Push too hard without understanding its balance, and it would remind you who was in charge. Learn its behavior, and it became one of the most rewarding cars you could drive. Compared to modern sports cars filled with electronic aids, the 1990 911 feels raw. There is no traction control correcting mistakes instantly, no drive modes transforming personality at the press of a button. What you feel is what the car is doing. This rawness is why the 1990 911 remains so admired today. It represents a time when engineering focused on mechanical excellence rather than software solutions. It connects driver and machine in a way that is becoming rare. In the end, the 1990 911 is not just remembered for its performance or design. It is remembered for how it made people feel. It demanded attention, rewarded skill, and built an emotional bond that lasted long after the engine was turned off. It stands as proof that true automotive greatness doesn't come from chasing trends. It comes from refining a vision, respecting tradition, and trusting that driving joy never goes out of style.